back. This is By the Book, and we are your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 9, Bihn and Morgan.
Yes.
This episode opened up with everybody kind of engaging in some sort of, fun not group activity, but individual couple activity. Mm-hmm. And so for the two of them, they started off like working out together, and then the next thing you know, they went to like this mermaid class. It was super weird,
strange,
but they seemed like they were trying. I guess to turn a corner. Yes. It seemed positive, and as we moved into the exercise that they had that the expert sent them about talking about love, we heard men get really vulnerable.
Yes.
In his apology to Morgan about like the whys of what happened.
Yes.
How he took out like his own insecurities with him growing up, and his family situation and him not feeling like he was enough. Mm-hmm. He took those things out on her and brought to light, her education or her debt, whatever the case may be. So I think it was a very heartfelt apology from him.
Extremely.
I wasn't surprised because he's shown me like that he has the ability to kind of fall on his own sword and take accountability. So this today was no different.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? When he did that, and when he was saying that he, how he was raised coming up in an Asian culture, mm-hmm. and how they really express the desire for their children to become doctors, mm-hmm. and he didn't become a doctor.
Yeah.
And so
but he's like an engineer.
He's an engineer,
right? Okay.
So he's
not
very
so shabby.
No, but not a doctor, and he felt very insecure about that, and so he even said, I was projecting my own insecurity onto you, and how I was raised, and how I wasn't good enough. And he went so far as to say, you are good enough, and I'm good enough, and things of that sort. He got really real and vulnerable with that conversation. However, I was taking it when I was looking at the two, that Morgan wasn't being very forthcoming or vulnerable. To me, her body language was a little bit off-putting. To me, her conversation through it, she said some positive things about being like this and not being like that, and all of that. And thank you for saying that. But to me, her emotionally, she was a bit standoffish and a bit cold.
That was something that we stopped the program to talk about a little bit, because I think sometimes like I didn't want to judge Morgan too harshly in that moment, because I don't know if she was still feeling like betrayed, right? Like I think she was.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine you're in a fight with somebody or something that's real fresh and raw, and then they give you an apology, even if it's a heartfelt apology, sometimes it's hard to go from 100 to 0.
Yeah.
Like to decelerate like that is difficult for people, and more difficult for some than others. I'm one of those people. If I'm like at a 10, I can't just suddenly be like, and loosen up, soften up, and meet you where you are with this emotional apology. You got to give me a minute to process that, mm-hmm. and then I may come back and really express my appreciation, for that apology. So I didn't want to really give her too much flack about that yet.
Okay.
So
okay. That's fair. That's fair. But in the midst of that, he even says, I believe in the confessional, that whatever it takes, whatever she needs, he's willing to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just not words. I mean, he's doing the work.
He is. Unlike Justin, I think he has a clue of what that means while still maintaining like his masculinity.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that plays out. When they get into the exercise that the experts gave them, talking about love, Morgan asks Ben if he's been in love before, and he said he had not. Mm-hmm. He said he was close, I guess, while he was in school, in college, but then he lost like 3 people consecutively or something like that, like his grandma, someone else, and his dad, and it kind of distanced them. He felt like she might be the one that got away.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know how that made Morgan feel. Like, I was like,
well, she asked.
But, right. She did ask. He then in turn, right, asked her if she'd been in love.
Yeah.
And she said she did. But I thought, like, her idea of what love was, or her example.
What was her example?
To demonstrate, it was so juvenile. Like, she said, we were drunk one day, and he was like, I'll fight everyone for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll fight anybody, every person in the world, I'll fight for you.
Yeah.
And so, like, just being the yes man that he is, being just like, yeah, that's love. That's love. I'm like, that ain't love. That's stupid. And it sounds so juvenile. And again, as I always do, I have to remind myself that she's only 27.
Yeah.
She hasn't had, like, so much life experience. She might very well find that once she reaches her mid-30s that she realizes that was not love at all.
Yeah.
So,
you know, she spoke so highly of this relationship.
She did. That it makes you want to say, like, well, where is he?
Where is this guy? And why aren't they together? Why aren't they together? You know, so I'm curious. I am really, because she definitely spoke with more passion about this past relationship than what she has about with Bihn, and how he was basically sharing his soul with this woman. He was being very vulnerable about who he is and where he comes from. And she was pretty stoic for most of that conversation. So, yeah, where is this guy that's going to fight the world for you, Morgan? I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know, but she probably should find him.
Yeah.
Anyway, they jump. It kind of was interesting because as they jump to that next scene where he's got, like, all this raw meat cut up, me and my husband were super freaked out. Like, I'm like, if this is supposed to be carpaccio, it's not nearly thin enough. I don't know what he's doing.
And I said, carpaccio who? What is that?
I'm like, this isn't gonna work. Everybody's going to the hospital.
Yeah.
But so he had, like, the little table cooktop thing, obviously. So he did cook the meat. Thank you, Jesus. But he kind of even went deeper.
Yes.
Into, like, I didn't expect it, you know, to happen, but he went even deeper into, like, his family situation. He wanted to talk more about that.
Yes, but before you go into it, he asked her first.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share? Now, he's already shared. You know, he's already come forth with everything. Yeah. And so he asked her, trying to open it up for her. You know, is there anything you want to share? And she, no, I don't think so. Yeah. You know, so she's still not, like you just said, give you a little time. She's had some time.
She's had some time. She could have acknowledged his apology. Maybe she did it off camera. I don't know. Or she could have acknowledged it more or differently than what she did initially. Yeah. We don't know whether or not that happened, but we didn't see it. But interestingly, I felt after he spilled his guts again, you know, about his feelings and his vulnerabilities, she talked a little bit about how she used to be. Like, she used to feel like she wasn't enough. Her situation with her dad. She didn't get into how or why exactly she cut him off. No. She doesn't have to, but it would be interesting to know. It would give us a little bit of more insight into her. So if she hasn't, you know, shared it to the world, maybe she shared it with him and they're just not talking about it on camera. I don't know. That would be a good idea, probably.
I hope she does. I hope she did.
Yeah, he asked her if she had totally healed from that. And without hesitation and without really thought, she said, oh yeah, you know, she was adamant that she had. And I think, you know,
I said out loud while we were watching this, I said, no, she hasn't. You know, but she was very quick to say that she had and give him advice on how to move on from his trauma.
And I don't read her healing in her behavior because she is so guarded and closed off. And she's so quick to retreat emotionally.
Yes.
And just as one of the things that the new or the trying out therapist said, that's a trauma response.
Yes.
What she's doing with Ben is definitely a trauma response.
Yes.
And I don't even know if she knows it. I don't think she's self-aware enough to realize that that's what she's doing. Now, she cried a little bit with Pastor Kyle a couple of episodes ago. It was like, don't make me cry. But she kind of opened up a little bit about her dad. But she's not being real with herself in saying that she's totally healed from that, because it's bleeding into her relationship right now.
She doesn't see it. She doesn't see it. And unfortunately, many people in relationships, they're going to see what the other person is lacking, or their shortcomings or whatever, and how this person hurt them or betrayed them. That's easy. That's easy stuff.
Yeah.
To point something, a character flaw in your mate. That's easy. It's a lot more difficult to turn that light back on yourself and say, ooh, I'm carrying some baggage. And that baggage is keeping me from being vulnerable. It's keeping me from being honest. It's keeping me from having the type of relationship that I really, really want. And so in order for me to do that, I got to do some work. I've got to do some healing. I've got to, and stop saying automatically, yes, I'm healed and I'm all this well-adjusted person. No, you're not. You need to put in some time, Morgan, and you need to get your stuff together, because here this man is bearing his soul to you, and the only thing you can do is try to give some unsolicited advice to him.
You know how I feel about unsolicited advice. But he is not like me, and he was very receptive to it. He's like, I don't know when I will get to that point. I think, though, because he's so much more self-aware than she is, he's able to acknowledge, like, I don't know when I'll be able to get to that point. And she's like, well, I'll help you get there. And that's great. It was a feel-good moment, but I don't think that they really addressed what's really in front of their faces.
No.
Which, I mean, I'm encouraged. I'm not saying that there isn't anything wrong with Ben. But he recognizes it, and she doesn't recognize what's wrong with her.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that definitely has to come into play, to where Morgan is not so ready to recognize where Ben is at fault. She's going to have to start realizing where Morgan is at fault, and we haven't seen her be able to do that yet.
No. We haven't. So they go to the therapy session, the group therapy session, and when they identify their emotions that they're feeling, Morgan's obviously able to identify how she felt at the beginning, humiliated, betrayed, like all of the negative things. Yeah. But she really doesn't have anything but positives to give for this at this point.
Yes.
Right. She's like, well, we're moving into the yellow. And the only thing that she really said in terms of Ben was she wanted the consistency and, like, I guess him checking up on her throughout the day, and she wanted compliments. Yeah. And he's giving her, like, these, what do I want to call them? Urban compliments.
Bro vibes.
Yeah. Telling her she looks icy or whatever. I mean, whatever. Yeah. But she wants to hear she looks beautiful. Yeah. It's a word choice thing. That's fine. I think that's super easy. That's not where the issues lie. The issues lie in our final scene, closing out the episode.
Here it comes.
Where Morgan's kind of rushing out of the house. It looks like it must be late or really, really early because it's dark outside. Yeah. And Ben is trying to ask her a question, I guess, about coordinating some sort of date or meetup or something like that. She's like, we'll figure it out. And then Alexis told me everything, by the way. And he's like, what are you talking about? And of course, she storms out, shuts the door. He's trying to chase after her. And in the little confessional that we see, she's like, basically, he's been talking SHIT about me behind my back. And Alexis came to me woman to woman and told me this. And I'm going to have plenty to say to Ben tomorrow. So I can only imagine what that's about. Any theories from
I have no idea what that was about. But I will say this. How she dropped that on him and walked out the door, that was one of the most childish things I've ever seen in my life. And so kind of, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of last season when Elijah Wan was at the table with the whole group, and he was mad, and he was just like, I could say some things, but I won't say it right now, in front of everybody. to me, that's childish. You know, if you have something that you want to say, then say it. If you don't, then don't say anything at all.
Right.
And so she dropped that little nugget, that little bomb, or whatever you want to call it, and storms out and leaves him hanging. He wants to, like, what are you talking about? He even chases her out of the out. You know, hey, what are you talking about? Let's talk about this, you know? And so she didn't give him the opportunity to even try to rectify anything that possibly could have been said, misconstrued, misunderstood, or anything. She took it upon herself to drop it and left it on his lap like that. And I think that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
That was dramatic.
It was. But I stand on it. That was for traumatic, thing. You know, that was, you got me. Yeah.
He said that perfect. Yeah. No, I think it was bad. I do think it was bad. I think it's manipulative. I think it's a tactic to put the other person like off guard, put them on the defensive, and you kind of just make them stew in it and worry, you know. So I don't like it. I think it's cruel in a sense, especially knowing or kind of reading the type of person that Ben is, who's very sensitive and a people pleaser. So he can't do anything. His hands are tied because she's walked out now. So he's not the type of person to just throw up his hands and be like, okay, well, whatever. Because if he was that type of person, she wouldn't have tried that tactic with him, right? Like if he was like, well, you leave. Who's the guy? I remember he locked the girlfriend out.
Jose.
Locked the wife out. If he had Jose's temperament, she wouldn't have dare walked out of that house. Yeah. So I also don't like when people use what they know about a person against them, and I feel like that's what she did. And that, so I very childish, like you said. Yeah.
But she has no idea even if what Alexis has told her was accurate.
And if it was delivered in the proper context.
Yes.
And that's where my final point lies, is that Alexis needs to mind her own doggone business.
Alexis has her own problems.
Stay out of other people's marriages. And certainly don't bring something to somebody. Like, this is not really like your lifelong girlfriend. You just met this woman like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yes.
At best. So you're not like her sister. If you have something to say, I would be super offended if someone pulled my husband to the side and told him like things that I was saying potentially out of context, and they didn't say it in front of my face. Like, allow me to be there so that we can all talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, if she's so bold and able to say whatever she wants to say, she doesn't hold her tongue for anything. Say it in front of me. I would be beyond pissed off if that happens to me. So I feel like that is an Alexis problem, and that is now a Bihn problem.
It is,
because of how Morgan is handling it.
Exactly. That was a pretty messy thing to do.
Yeah.
And you're right. We haven't seen, at least on camera, that Morgan and Alexis are all that tight. I mean, like last season, I hate to keep bringing up last season, but last season we can kind of like see Katina and Jasmina develop a really good friendship, you know, but we haven't seen that with these two.
Alexis has as much as said like Morgan is similar to her. So I do know that she thinks that she relates to her, and that's fine. But when you're going to do something that throws someone under the bus, and it's a brand new marriage that's like in a very delicate spot, like, let the other person be there to defend themselves. That was super weak.
Yeah. You know, I think Alexis is having her issues and misery loves company. You know, so here she is. Your relationship is going down the toilet, so here they are. They trying to battle themselves back, and here you are. You want to flush the toilet on them too. That's all that is. That was petty, you know, messy stuff.
Yep. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you have some insight into what the issue was. I would love to theorize about that. We can make some guesses. We also have not seen the after party, full disclosure. So if something was disclosed in there, we don't know about it. We probably won't watch it until like later this evening or tomorrow. So if we get some extra insight, we probably will comment on our own video and let you know. But we'll be doing our follow-up videos and some sidebars and stuff like that.
Exactly.
in the coming days. So we look forward to hearing from you guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.